Earlier, we looked into how do we do record and compute in our SAS. So today we will look into two analysis. First, we'll look into how do we do cross-tabulation, and then after that, we're going to look into how do we do chi-square test, and then how do we also interpret the findings that we have found out in our SAS analysis of cross-tab and chi-square test. Now, recall that in your earlier tutorial, we look into how do we actually do record and compute. So what we've done here is that you already done the record for age and then compute for premium program. So what I did additionally is I have done a record of premium from numeric into categorical. All right. Now for cross tabulation and chi-square test, you can only do it when it is a categorical like this. For example, you want to run between premium with, let's say, gender. Okay, it can only be done when it is categorical like this. Now, how do you do this? How do you do record? It's like how you actually did it earlier for age to age group with slightly a little bit difference in terms of the record function. All right. So how do you do that? Okay, I will show to you how do we get this. All right, record function in our query builder in SAS. So to do that, you have to go to query builder. So like usual, you have to choose a variable. So I will choose until program from gender until program. All right, just to shorten out the tutorial. All right, so just drag it here. You can actually choose the other one if you want to, but I'll just maintain as this one. Now what we are doing is we are actually trying to look at premium in categorical against gender, which is already categorical. So we need to now change premium, all right, to category. So how do you do that? You can add this compute column, how to do record and compute function in SAS. Choose record column, next, and then choose premium, click next. Now you have to create, as usual, the range. Now, recall that in our variable earlier for premium, it is actually measured on a scale of 1 to 7, where 1 to 3, you can call it as low, 4, you can call it as mid or medium or average, 5 to 7, you can call it as high. So what I will do is I will add a range. So I will just put it like this. So the lower limit is 1. The upper limit here, I'll put it as 3.99999, just so that we get the highest probabilities of, okay? And then I can call this as low. And of course, enclose the quotes, then click OK. All right, and make sure the column type is corrected. All right, always click this first before you get. Now the second one is slightly a little bit different from the earlier version of doing record. What we are doing is we are using the exact number 4 and make it as a mid or medium. So I just click add. So rather than click replace a range, now you can choose this thing called replace condition. So when you click replace condition, it look like this. I will do like this. So I choose the value, the equal value of 4. And with this, I call this as medium or mid if you want to call it. Just get to mid so it's much easier. I just cross this with quotes, then click OK. So you get that equal to 4 is now mid. And then the other one is the lower limit here. I would say that it's 4.00001, for example. Okay, so that we can increase the probability to the higher limit of 7. Okay, since it's only on the scale 7. And I call this as high. And then make sure you enclose this value in quote is click OK. And then you see that whatever from here to here is high. So now we already have a categorical. All right, then click next. So you can call this as premium level. Okay, and then same thing, premium level, you can just call it as premium level. Always delete the format. Yeah. And then click next and click finish. All right, so what happened is that you can actually run it if you want to, but I will just complete a program, and then once you complete program, and I will just run it and we'll get the premium program what we did here. Okay, so I already completed these two. All right, so I run it together with the remaining, so just to be consistent. So now we already have this in categorical, premium categorical, program also in categorical. We also have age also in categorical. Now, first analysis that we will do today is we're going to look into gender and age scale in terms of cross tabulation. So in terms of the different age group, male and female, what is the frequency count? And we can report it in our use it for our reporting in your research report. So to do cross tabulation, all right, you need to go to task, okay, and then it's under describe. If you cannot see it, you just click on describe, you bring it out, and then choose table analysis. Okay, so table analysis is actually very similar to pivot table in Excel spreadsheet. In SAS, it's called table analysis, and it is used to do cross tabulation. So just double click table analysis. Okay. So what happened here is that you need to identify the variable that you want to analyze. Now, like any table, in pivot table, we only have two at a time. So I will just choose the first one, which is gender, put it under here. And the second one, choose age scale and just put it under here. All right. So put both under the table variables here. Then in your table, now you have to choose the table and you need to choose the orientation. So you go to here, table, click on table, and here it have not been defined, yeah, which one is the row and the column. So I'll put gender. I'll just drag and drop gender under the column, and then age I'll just drag and drop under the row. Okay, like this. So once you drag and drop, you realize that this run button will show. Earlier it is not there. All right, earlier you cannot do anything. Okay, you cannot run it because you have not defined the table. So you have to uh, choose the orientation itself, then only this will come out. Okay. All right. Before we run the analysis, okay, just go to cell statistics. I will normally just choose the correct the cells frequency, and then I will also look at the row percentage like that. Okay, the row percentage, or if you want, you can also do column percentage. Or I'll just normally just do row, or if you want to, you can also use this, the cumulative column percentages if you want to. This also okay. All right. So just click run. Okay. So now you have the statistics. So this is the we'll call it, this is your cross tabulation results. So in terms of the percentage, okay, you can use this percentage. I would normally just take the frequency, and then I will calculate the percentage manually by looking at, perhaps in this sense is, here I look at in terms of this group of age for male, one denote male, two here denote female, okay, in the data set. So I'll just divide this with the total, okay, just to get a much accurate frequency and percentages if you want to, or you can use this frequency also can. All right. So very much depending on how you want to analyze your cross tabulation. So this is how you can do your first cross tabulation. Okay, moving on. All right. So let's go back into our data. Okay. So we've done the correct the cross tabulation between gender and age. Okay. Now what we want to do is I want to look at between gender and premium level. Okay. So to do this, I will bring you to the Excel spreadsheet here. Okay. I've written a couple of things here, so I will just run it through with you. What we're looking at for our chi-square test later. Okay. Before we have our chi-square test conducted, we always have to write our hypothesis. So as I mentioned just now, I want to look at gender and premium. I want to see is there any interaction or relationship between gender and premium. So I written the hypothesis such, and I only maintain the alternate hypothesis. As I mentioned earlier in our lecture, in marketing, we'll normally just report or test the alternative hypothesis, and we just omit the null hypothesis. Okay. All right. So how do we know that if there is any interaction? Okay, we need to actually come up with a decision. All right. So the decision to accept or to reject a hypothesis will normally have what called as a indicator. Okay. So the indicator here is actually a p-value, or known as the significant value, which you can actually get in any analysis that you do. All right. In this case, when we do chi-square test, it will also show you the p-value. So through the p-value, you will know, do you want to accept or reject this hypothesis? Okay. Now, how do we read the p-value? All right, there's this thing what we call as the rule of thumb. All right, in any statistics, we actually have what we call as a confidence interval. Or another word, confidence interval denote how confident are we or are you in terms of uh, that particular analysis they conducted is true, or it is actually significant. Okay, so there's three rule of thumb here. There's the also as the 90% confidence interval, 95% confidence interval, and 99% confidence interval. So with confidence interval, what you have is you actually have a confidence level that whatever that you do is actually true. Okay, whatever you do is actually true. So when you have a 90% confidence interval, your confidence level is actually 10%. Okay, how do you get this 10%? You just use 100 confidence interval minus this rule of thumb, the first one 90, and you get a difference of 10%, which is your confidence level. Or another word, it is known as the p-value. So when you change the percentage to a round figure of 1, you actually 10% is actually equivalent to 0.1. So this 0.1 is actually the p-value. Okay. All right. So what we try to find out in our statistic is the p-value, which is could be this. Okay. So the standard one that we use is actually the 95% confidence interval. Let's just highlight this. And the confidence level is 5%. The p-value is 0.05. So what happened is that we want to find any p-value which is smaller than or equal to 0.05. Okay, let's just assume if we have a p-value of 0.051, which is larger than 0.05, correct? What happened is that you change this to percentage, it is actually 5.1%, and you minus it with 100%, you actually only achieve 94.5%. In this sense, you will say that you are actually 94 point, let's just use this, okay? Use 100% minus this, so this is equal to, just to be safe, 100% or 1 equal to 1 minus this. All right, so you actually get 94.9%, which is actually smaller than 95% confidence interval. Mean to say that you are only 94.9% confidence that this is true. Okay, for example. All right, so you can actually adjust. Let's say you find a p-value of 0.06, for example. Okay, so when you do it, you actually see that it's only 94%, which is smaller than 95%. So you are saying that it is only 95%, 94% that this is true. And recall that we use this rule of thumb, 95%. Okay, we use this 95%, so we actually want to find any p-value which is smaller than or equal to 0.05. Okay, so whatever here is good, whatever here is actually not preferable at most circumstances. All right, but some researchers they also maintain this particular confidence interval. Okay, all right. So this is just some of the things that we will look for when we do chi-square test. Okay. Now, its SAS is actually quite very straightforward when you do chi-square test. All right. So how do you do chi-square test? So now we want to do first we need to run a cross tabulation between gender and premium in order for us to do chi-square test. All right, it's actually integrated in the system, these two to be together. So like earlier, just click table analysis, double click on it, it will bring you to the table analysis. So now you need to choose your variables. I'll choose gender and then premium level. Yeah, don't choose a premium because recall that we are running categorical in this sense. Okay, so once you choose this, go to table, like how you will develop your cross tabs, or drag and drop gender here, and now I'll choose premium here. All right, don't run first. Okay, now you need to go to cell statistics. Okay, now in chi-square test, we would normally show only the cell frequency and the expected cell frequency. Okay, so I will just choose cell frequency and expected cell frequency. If you see that the column percentage is clicked, just click it, just unclick it, it will be gone. So we'll just maintain cell and the cell frequency, which is actually the observed value, and expected cell frequency, which is actually the expected value. Okay, then go to table statistics. All right, and then you will see that there is this thing called chi-square test. All right, so you just click on chi-square test. Okay, and then you can choose ZP value if you want to, but I'll just maintain it is this, and then you can run it. Okay, now we've already have our results for the cross tabulation table. So you can see here, you have the this, you have 11, 21, 2, 4, 1, 1. This is the observed count, and the one at the bottom is actually the expected count. Okay, so if you use Excel, you actually get the similar results. All right, what do we need to look for in chi-square test is actually this probability. Okay, or this is also known as the p-value. So the probability is 0.9000. So let's put this into our Excel spreadsheet earlier. So it's actually 0.9000. Okay, so what happened is that you see that this is 0.9000, right? So we just put it here 0.90. Okay, all right, and we just use a frequency. So you just change this to percentages, or you can just use 1 minus this. So you should do just again equal to 1 minus, sorry, equal to 1 minus this p-value, and there you go. You get the confidence interval. So you can change this to, if you don't have it, you can change it to percentages. So it become percentage. So what happened is that with a p-value of 0.9 or 0.9, you only have a confidence interval of 10%. So if you look at this particularly, it is actually very far away from 95%. So in that sense, I would say that I will only assume that this is true at 10%, which is not good. We want to find a confidence interval of 95% with a p-value of 0.05. So in this sense, I would say that this is rejected. This hypothesis is rejected because the p-value here shows that it is bigger than 0.05. In fact, it is even bigger than 0.1. All right, it's even bigger than that. So in that sense, it is rejected. Or in other words, there is no significant interaction between gender and premium level because we already reject this hypothesis based on the p-value of smaller than or equal to 0.05. So the finding shows that in our SAS, the finding shows that the p-value is 0.9. So it's actually bigger than 0.05. So hence the hypothesis is rejected. Okay, so this is how you do cross tabulation, and this is how you also do chi-square test, which is embedded within cross tabulation in SAS, which you can use table analysis for both of these analysis. Okay, thank you.